Mike Moore Media.
A very special podcast now with Valencia Abbott. I had an opportunity to hear Valencia a couple of months back at an Eden City Council meeting, and I wanted to follow up with some of the things that she has been working with for years, very concerned with, and she's on our media line now. Hey, Valencia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing okay. First, a little background on you, if you would, please. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Valencia Abbott. I am a lifelong resident of Rockingham County, born and raised here. I am currently a social studies teacher at Rockingham Early College High School, starting my 11th year this year. And I am also on the program committee for the Museum and Archives of Rockingham County. And that is where this project initiated. As part of the program committee back in 2018, we're trying to create programs. One of the things that came to light was the Griggs case, Griggs versus Duke Power Company, which at that time I knew very little about, but now I know way more information. So since 2018, I have been researching this project, and it has resulted in the project receiving 2 historical markers. The first one will be the North Carolina Civil Rights Trail marker with the dedication ceremony on August 1st, and then the second one, really prestigious award, is the North Carolina Highway Historical Marker, and that dedication ceremony is scheduled for October 7th.
This is exciting, and I know you say you've been working on this since 2018. I had never heard about it until I heard you speak at that city council meeting. So right up front, I want people to know about your Facebook page, the Civil Rights Movement Beyond 1968, Griggs versus Duke Power. I'd never heard of this before. I came to Eden in 1972. This was news to me. Can you give us an overview of this, please?
Yes. Well, most people did not know about this case, and I would say when I started in 2018, probably 99% of the people that I spoke to had never heard of this case. And in some cases, family of the plaintiffs did not know that their uncle or great-grandfather or grandfather or either father was associated with this case. This case begins in 1966. 14 African-American men will sign a note to their supervisor with the request that they want to apply for jobs in the Dan River steam plant. And at that time, the black men was the only place that they could work was the labor department, which was custodial and manual labor, and then the white men worked in the other parts of the plant, and they also got paid more. So these men were made that request, and this was 1966. And one of the arguments that I make, or one of the claims that have come to light, is that of those 14 men that signed that note, 8 of them are World War II veterans. And if we look at the civil rights movement, the contemporary civil rights movement begins in 1945, when those World War II veterans are coming home. They're treated so differently overseas. They come back with a different perspective. So many historians mark that as the beginning of the civil rights movement, and we'll take that till about 1972, the mid-1970s, when we get into bus desegregation. So those long years of the civil rights movement, most people associate that with Martin Luther King in the 1960s, but the civil rights movement encompasses so much more. And one of those is this case, which a lot of people are not aware of because it's not as glamorous. We're not talking about kids. We're talking about middle-aged men who are just trying to get their civil rights, and we're talking about the ability to work where their skills and attention wants to be, and they can't. They're denied this right. Mm-hmm. And Duke Power will prevent this for 5 years until the Supreme Court case is decided in March of 1971.
And I heard you mention also that this was really 2 years before Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated, 11 years after Emmett Till was killed. And we're hearing more about Emmett Till lately, too, aren't we?
Yes. He just received, him and his mother just received recognition as a federal national park. And one of the reasons is because the location was targeted so many other times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate your passion for this and your interest and your work over the last few years and bringing this to light so that all of us that didn't really have a clue about this now are better informed. And it's important that we are informed about this, isn't it?
It is, because most history, significant history, is made by those people that we don't see in the history books. And when you say the civil rights movement, people know Rosa Parks, not the complete story, but Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Harriet Tubman. But when we're talking about black history and those names that are not making it into the textbooks, and today I can say even with that, Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King Jr. sometimes not included. But when we're talking about black history, people in particular don't know those stories and understand how those stories need to be shared to give us a complete history of who we are.
That's exactly
not just who we are as black people, but who we are as a people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Well, I know when you and I talked initially, we all appreciate those historical markers we see all around North Carolina. Sometimes on our travels, we stop and read those, and we take pictures, and we learn more about those particular events, where they are. You told me Rockingham County has about 24 state historical markers and only 2 representing people of color and their work.
Yes. The Griggs will be the 25th highway marker. Mm-hmm. The other 2 is Glen Settle, and then the Sartown Indians is the other one.
Okay. So the importance of having these markers out there for us now and for future generations. Now, tell us again the dates of these when and the ceremony involved around these as well.
Well, the first one is going to be on August 1st, which is next Tuesday at 5:30. And that will be the largest of the dedication ceremony. And one of the reasons that that's the bigger event is because they're the only permanent exhibit around the case of Griggs versus Duke Power is at the Mark. Mm-hmm. So people will actually have an opportunity to go into the museum from 10 until 5 and then from 7 until 8. The actual dedication ceremony will begin at 5:30 and should last hopefully a little over an hour, and then the marker will be revealed. So that's at 5:30 at the Museum and Archives of Rockingham County. The second one, the highway marker, is scheduled for October 7th, and that marker is going to be placed in Eaton because it needed to be placed the closest point to the actual event. And the Dan River Steam Plant is located in Eaton. And those locations was dictated by the Department of Transportation. So that was set up, and that location will be between the hospital and the library in Eaton.
Okay. Between the hospital and the library. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm making notes here too, so I'm jotting that down. So that will. Do we have a time on that on October 7th yet?
We're planning in the morning. We're working on that one. I wanted to get August 1st over and done with.
Right.
But as of right now, we're thinking it's going to be, because that's on a Saturday, it's going to be a morning dedication ceremony for that. But we would definitely let everybody know.
Yeah, we'll be announcing that as we get closer, sure. Okay. But certainly we need everyone to know about the one next Tuesday, August 1st, starting at 5:30 there at the Mark. And you said we'll be able to see that permanent exhibit there at the Mark between 10 and 5 and then between 7 and 8. And by permanent exhibit, how permanent is that? Is that there for this year, or is that going to be just a part of the Mark itself?
Unless another executive director comes and change their minds, it will always be a part of the Mark.
Okay.
It will not go away again, but another executive director could come in. But as of right now, C.J. Idle is the director, and he will also be giving the welcoming speech on next Tuesday. But yes, the permanent exhibit. But I also want people to know that it's a work in progress.
Right. Okay.
That they may have come before, but you're going to see as we collect things, as this history becomes more light is placed on this history, it will change. It will evolve into telling these stories. And there's 14 men that's involved, and that doesn't even include James Arthur Griggs, who's president of the Breezewood branch of the NAACP, the lawyers that was involved. So every year I put in a different focus. The first year it was just to tell people about the case. The second year we talked about the silent generation, about the year these men were born and how coming of age in this time period and in Rockingham County. This year we concentrated on the education aspect of this because that had a big component of how the case was decided. And then this next coming up year, I am going to focus on the veterans of the case. So as I narrow the focus and look for different information, we get more information and more is revealed. So that exhibit definitely will be evolving as each year comes.
Valencia, again, thank you for your hard work and your dedication in making this happen. And you're talking about a work in progress. Before we finish up, the Mark is like that, Museum and Archives of Rockingham County. A lot of people have never been in the Mark before, but what a treasure that is, isn't it?
Yeah, most people don't even know that Rockingham County has a museum. It's the old courthouse. Mm-hmm. Yep. It, and they don't even know that is the old courthouse. But yeah, what has transformed that space into saving not only the history of Griggs, but the history of Rockingham County, which is the history of us.
The history of us. That's exactly right.
Yes.
It's our story. Okay.
Yes.
Valencia, thank you so much for your time. I know you're extremely busy. School's getting ready to start back up. I'm glad we had a little bit of time to share these important stories, and perhaps we'll talk again. I hope so.
All right. I hope to see you on Tuesday.
You bet. Thanks a lot. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
I hope you were listening closely, paying attention there to some of the important things that Valencia Abbott was telling us. Again, let me direct you to that Facebook page, The Civil Rights Movement Beyond 1968, Griggs versus Duke Power. Again, that Civil Rights Trail marker will be unveiled, and the ceremony around that next Tuesday, August 1st, at the Mark in Wentworth. And then the North Carolina Highway marker, that will be October 7th. We'll be telling you more about that as the date gets closer.